29, and this is called a Mrityunjay mantra, and a very popular mantra also. A lot of people think that if we recite this mantra, we won't get sick or we won't die. That's not the purpose of this mantra. Okay, so this is by Rishi Vashishta. त्र्यंबकम यजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वारुक इव बंधान मृत्यो मुक्ष्ये मा अमृतात् त्र्यंबकम यजामहे सुगंधिम पतिवेदनम उर्वारुक इव बंधनात् दितो मुक्ष्ये माम उत। ओम पर ब्रह्म भगवान त्रिलोकी के स्वामी सर्वत्र व्यापक हैं। सो त्र्यंबकम का ये मतलब है। ओके, सो ओम पर ब्रह्म भगवान त्रिलोकी के स्वामी, तीन लोक के स्वामी, सर्वत्र व्याप्त हैं। तीनों लोक उनकी दृष्टि में हैं, भू भुव स्वा। वे त्र्यंबक नाम से इसी कारण विख्यात हैं। हम उस पर ब्रह्म भगवान त्र्यंबक की सदैव स्तुति करते रहें, उनसे हमें सुकीर्ति और शक्ति प्राप्त होती रहे और मरण उपरांत मोक्ष भी। हम सदैव उस शक्ति और यश प्रदायक भगवान के गुणों का बखान करते रहें और उनकी रक्षा में रहें। मरणोपरांत हमारी सुस्मृति संसार में इस प्रकार बनी रहे, जिस प्रकार पका हुआ खरबूजा बेल से टूटकर सुगंधी देता है और सबको अच्छा लगता है। वैदिक शब्द त्र्यंबक उमापति भगवान शंकर का पर्याय नहीं माना जा सकता, क्योंकि वेद अपौरुषेय है। Because a lot of people they say Triambak is Lord Shiva's. But no, this Triambak means Brahma. तीन लोकों के दृष्टा त्र्यंबक उनका नाम, कीर्तन उनका हम करें प्रातः से ले शाम। कीर्ति जन की बढ़त है, कृपा उसकी पाए, और शक्ति भी बढ़त है, शरणी जो जन आए। स्तुति करें हम बारंबार और करें यशगान, त्र्यंबक जिनको जग कहे त्रिलोकी के भगवान। त्रिलोकी में ना है कोई उस नजर से बाहर, तीन लोक को देख रहे क्षण व पहर दोपहर। त्र्यंबक तीन लोक के स्वामी, तीन लोक के दृष्टा नामी। शरण में उसकी जो जन आए, बहु जगत में वह नहीं आए। See, that's what moksha is, that you don't come back again. Right? It's not that you don't die, but you don't come back. Okay, we are on chapter number 18, verse number 22. And in this chapter, the Guru is speaking, Astavakra is speaking. असंसारस्य तुको अपि न हर्षः न विषादतः, स शीतल मनः नित्यं विदेहा इव राज। Asansarasya, one who has transcended worldly experiences. Tu means indeed, kwa api, anywhere. Na means not, harsh means joy, vishadata, sorrow. Sa means he, sheetal manaha, tranquil mind. Nityam, ever, videha, one without a body. Iv rajate, as if exists. Never is joy or sorrow for one who has transcended the worldly experiences. Tranquil in mind, he lives like one without a body. One without a body means no burden of the body. We are constantly aware of this body, but when we become a master of this body, we live like without a body. Just like if there's no pain in our mouth, in our teeth, we live like we don't have teeth. We are not aware of it. So the same way, videha iv rajate. Okay. So basically, what he is trying to tell us that a person of this kind of a state of mind has transcended the ego. Because our ego is the one which identifies them with the body. So for this person, the identifications with the body and the mind have ended. that this person knows I am the Atma. Because these sensations of joy and sorrow can arise only in the mind. These are all different modifications of the mind. And these are also called as disturbances in our mind. Sometimes it's joyful and sometimes it's sorrowful. These are the turbulations in our mind. So, to a realized person, there are neither ego nor desires. So, what is the outcome of that is that his mind is very tranquil, ever tranquil. The key word is nityam. We do feel tranquility here and there, but this person is ever tranquil because there's no thought agitations which can disturb his mind. There's a divine inner peace, unmotivated by personal desires. See, we are looking for the happiness because we have some desires. And when those desires are not met, we get agitated. So this person has risen above all that. How is he moved about? How does he do everything? According to the prarabdha. Whatever is happening, that's fine, according to the prarabdha. So he seems to be so careless about his body. That's why it said that videha ivarajate. Live like one without a body. This supreme state was described in Yoga Vashishta also. Rishi Vashishta says, Paschat pavan pavanam padam jam tat pray tat chitatam tat sansthen shochate punralam punsam maha swapi. Later, having reached the Holy of Holies, this unborn state, his tranquil mind established in it. He never grieves even in the greatest calamities. Okay? So this is what so Sheetal Maranityam is. It's not that external is always good. External, sometimes it will be good, sometimes it won't be. But internally, ever tranquil, this kind of a person. And that's where we all need to go with our practice. Next one. Kutrapi na jihasa asti, na shahava api na kutrachit, atma ramasya dhirasya, sheetal achitar atmana. Kutrapi, anywhere. Na means not, jihasaha, desire to renounce. Asti means is, na shah, loss. Va means or, api is even, na kutrachit, not anywhere. Atma Ramasya, one who delights in the self. Dhirasya, of the wise person. Sheetal Achitar Atmana, whose mind is serene and pure. Okay? So the wise who delights in the self. Okay, so where is the delight coming from? From the self. What is the self? Part of Brahma. Embodiment of bliss. So the wise who delights in the self, whose mind is serene and pure, has no desire to renounce anything whatsoever. Nor does he feel any loss anywhere. No rag, no dvesh. Nothing to deject. Whatever is, is. That is the acceptance. No resistance. So, on transcending the mind alone is the state of self realized. Because all of this is about the mind. When he talks about Sheetal and Achitara, That is like a serene and extremely beautiful. And what does it really mean? In a simple language, that means completely agitationless. That's what it means. Otherwise, how do we know it's a clean mind? More the agitations, the dirtier the mind. More the restlessness, dirtier the mind. So tranquility, agitationless. And all those agitations are nothing but the desires. Nothing but the desires. So the wise man who delights in the self, there can be no desire to renounce anything whatsoever. He sees nothing to be renounced because his mind is serene and pure. And nor does he feel any loss anywhere. So this does not mean that he will hold on to everything. See, we want to renounce what? The things we don't like. And we like to gain things which we like. But he has risen above both. Whatever is, that's fine. So the man of enlightenment comes to live in such a different dimension altogether. No loss in the relative world of finite objects. So you understand this is all temporary. Wherever I am, it's fine. I have nothing to gain from it and nothing to lose from there. That kind of a tranquil mind. So transcending the body and mind, the ego in the wise person has awakened. See, where is it all coming from? How does he feel that I don't have to renounce anything, I don't have to gain anything? Because he feels the bliss of self, the God. Totally comfortable. प्रकृत्यः शून्ये चितस्य कुर्वतः अस्य यदृच्छ्यः प्राकृतस्य इव धीरस्य न मानः न अवमानता. Another beautiful verse. Prakritya, that is Prakriti by nature. Shunya chitasya, void in mind. Shunya chit. Kurvata, undertaking to do. Asya means this, yadrichyaha, what comes of itself, unasked. Prakritasya, like a common person. Dhirasya, the wise person. Na manaha, na means not, man means honor. And avamanta, dishonor. By nature of void in mind, shunya chit, and undertaking to do what comes of itself unasked. So that means there's no desire. Asking is what? Asking of the mind. Our mind is the one keep on asking. But his mind is shunya, nothing to ask for. Then the wise person, unlike a common person, is not affected by honor or dishonor. We do things because we want to receive honor. We want praises. We want others to pat our back. But this person is getting all that bliss from the right place. People will sometimes honor, sometimes some people will not honor. No effect on him at all, on the wise person. So the liberated in life or Jivan Mukt by his very nature comes void in mind. Because thought flow in his mind has ended. No disturbances. Or another way we say he has transcended his mind. No modifications can disturb him. So he is still living in this world according to the prarabdha, functioning like any one of us, but unlike us. See, this is what over here prakritasya eva derasya. So he is just like us, living in the same Prakriti. But it is immaterial for him whether he is revered or cursed by for his activities. His body acts on the stage of this world, just like we learned last week, as a dry leaf is blown here and there by the passing breeze. So the wise man's actions are all prompted by a higher will. This is whatever God wants me to do, whatever his desire. His wish is my desire. Doesn't matter whatever he wishes, whatever he gives. So this kind of a person will be divinely kind. This is what we see in this person, kind to us, compassionate to us, and always very sweetly merciful. These are the qualities which will come out of. That's why we call these people what? Saints. Saints. So the Lord of the universe, which is called Jagadishwar also, right? Jagat Ishwar functions through him. So that's why the actions of this kind of a person are divine actions. And for himself, he doesn't care for a honor or dishonor. Because what are those actually? Honor and dishonor? They are judgments of the intellect. Because with our intellect, we say this person deserves our honor or does not deserve honor. It's an intellect. But who the person who has transcended his intellect, where is honor and dishonor? Okay. Next one. Kutam dehen karam idam na maya shuddha rupina iti chinta anurodhi ya kurvan api karoti naha. Kutam means done. Dehen by the body. Karam is work. Idam means this. Na maya, not by me. Shuddha rupina, of the pure nature. Iti chintaha anurodhi. Thus, conforming to such thoughts. Ya means who, kurvan acting, api means though, kuroti acts, na means not. One who acts in conformity with thoughts such as, this is done by the body and not by me. There's a question.
Urmil has a question. Urmil?
Yes, Urmi.
Between them. Sorry to be asking at this point, but in the 1824, the explanation, there are 1, 2, and 3. The third one says, because this wise man does not identify himself with the relative aspects of his being, in reference to which alone the sense of honor and dishonor arises. Because he does not identify himself with the relative aspect of his being, I don't get it.
That means intellectual estimates. See, somebody is saying that from their intellect, they'll say, you are speaking good, you are not speaking good. So he has risen above all that. Because he identifies himself only with the Atma now. So he does not get disturbed. Okay, so that's what it means, relative. Relative is like a relative estimate according to somebody else's intellect. Okay. So let's move on to the 25. So one who acts in conformity with thoughts such as, this is done by the body and not by me. Because these are the thoughts of a wise person. Because this wise person is, according to Bhagavad Gita, is a karam sannyasi. This is done by the body and not by me, the pure self. So he knows I am the pure self. Pure self is not doing anything. Such a person, even though acting, does not act. Okay, and this is what called akaram. You remember those three levels of karams? Karam, vikaram, and akaram. Karam is regular action, vikaram is prohibited action, and akaram is doing the actions, but you are a non-doer. You are still doing it, but you are not a doer. Others will think that you are doing it. According to their own intellect, somebody will say you are doing good, somebody will say you are not doing good. That's their, according to their estimates, which Urmil was just asking about. So, such a person, even though acting, does not act. See, we have studied all this in Bhagavad Gita in a detail. So that's why study of the Bhagavad Gita is very important before you study Astavakra Gita. We have not reached there, but intellectually we can understand it. And that's why I would like you to, after the class, run through Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verses 26 and 28. Chapter 4, verses 20 and 21. Chapter 5, 8, 9, 13. Chapter 13, verse number 9. And chapter 18, verse number 58. You will see that repeatedly Lord Krishna is talking about this. Just do a little run through those verses. You all have Bhagavad Gita. Upanishads also repeatedly thunder this idea. Again and again, all the rishis are saying the same thing. But in order to become a karma sannyasi, we have to become a very first level is a karma yogi. Then from karma yogi, we have to rise up to between karma sannyasi and a karma yogi. There is what? Gyan karma sannyasi. You remember that? So clearly we should know the difference, because if we know intellectually, then ultimately we'll be able to live like that. Quickly, let me give you a little recap on that. Karam yogi is a person who does the duties. His or her duties lovingly, selflessly, skillfully. That's a Karam yogi. Then, but still doership is there. I am doing it. Then you got to just raise your bar a little up. You got to see that I am doing it, but do it for God. That is the Gyan part. Offer your fruits to God. That's why in that chapter, Lord Krishna mentioned the yajna. It's not a yajna until you remember God when you are doing your duties. Otherwise, they become selfish. They could be good actions, but they can be very selfish. But now what he's talking about over here is the third stage, Karam Sannyasi. That's why he says this is done by the body and not by me. We got to have that understanding that I am not the body. This detachment is needed. Like yesterday we were talking about detachment from a worldly point of view. A person can say it has a negative connotation. But for a yogi, detachment word is the most beautiful word. Without detachment, we cannot lift ourselves up. Just like a plane cannot lift itself up without a proper engine, proper kind of a fuel also. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong. Plane can just go like a car. But in order to lift up, the same way a human being, we can live like ordinary human beings, common men. But if we want to become a yogi, we have to detach. And that is what the Vairagya is. So Vairagya is a beautiful word for a yogi. And detachment is But death for a common man, how can I detach? Sounds like a death sentence. So it all depends what our objective is. If the objective is higher, we are ready to do the work which will take us to that higher plateau. So that's why, in that sense, he says, one who acts in conformity with thoughts such as this is done by the body and not by me, the pure self. Such a person, even though acting, does not act. So an action is not a mere movement of limbs. It's not just I'm moving my hands or I'm talking with my mouth. Action without a willful ego, an action is never performed. Just like in a deep sleep, I can kick somebody. That is not an action because ego is not attached to it. So over here, a person is acting by the body only. Says, I am the pure self. See the difference? So a liberated in life is one who lives constantly in the experience that he is the self or she is the self or the soul or the atma. This is the key word over here. And all the activities in the world are done by his body and mind. And where are they getting the vitality? From me though. Vitality is given by me, the soul. Otherwise, body cannot act, mind cannot speak, intellect cannot discern. Vitality is given, but the freedom is given to the body. Freedom is given to the mind and the intellect. Yes, Jyoti.
Manju Malhotra,
Yes, Manju.
raised her hand.
Yes, and Hershey, I just wanted the list of those Gita verses, please,
You want
quickly.
me to repeat it again?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
sure.
numbers.
I'll write them in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, let
All
me
right.
repeat it anyway. Chapter 3, 26 and 28, if you want to just double check it.
Yes.
Chapter
Yes.
4, 20 and 21.
Yes.
Chapter 5, 8, 9 and 13. Chapter 13,
Okay.
9. And chapter 18, 58. Okay, I'm sure there are others also, but try to go through these just to understand the deeper significance of this verse. Because he said, Kurvan api karoti naha. This is what he's trying to say. Even though acting, he does not act. So it's a declaration given by Lord Krishna also and given by Rishi Astavakra also. So there's no ego to receive the results of those actions which are done by the body. Okay? There's a disconnect over there. And how did this happen? With the sadhana, guys. Sadhana. Okay? So let's move on to next one. अतद्वादी इव कुरुते न भवेत अपि बालिशः जीवन मुक्तः सुखी श्रीमान समसरन अपि शोभते. Atadvadi iv, like one who does not say why. Kurute acts, na bhavet, not is, api means even though, balishaha, that means a fool, a dull person. That's what balisha means. Jivan muktaha, one who is liberated while living. Sukhi, happy. Shiriman, blessed. Samsaran, being in the world. Api means even, shobhate, flourishes. The liberated in life acts like one who does not say why he is acting so, but he is not thereby a fool. Even though in the world he is ever happy and blessed. See, an intelligent person will plan his activities and will definitely achieve or expects to achieve his chosen goal. I'm planning this, I got to have this, or earn his purpose. So intelligent person will be clear of his motives. He knows precisely what his intentions are. Intelligent person. But an unintelligent fool, due to his foolishness, cannot say what the purpose is, why he is doing something. He is unconscious of his intentions, or he is not intelligent enough to recognize his activities to achieve a definite goal of life. But over here we are talking about liberated in life. He acts under the force of the prarabdha of his body. He spontaneously acts. Mainly to do something good for the society. But if we ask him why he's undertaking such an endeavor, why are you doing it? He may not have any answer. He can only smile. That's what they do. His actions are without any personal motive. They are all programs of activities expressing through him as ordered by the Lord. Because he is connected with God. Whatever is being done, I'm just doing it to please my God. Not my own bank account, not my own image, but to please my Lord. So that's why to us, this kind of a person looks like a fool. Spending all the time, spending all the money, because average person will say that, no, this is my time. My time is very precious. If I want to spend with you, I better get something in return. This kind of a person does not. The wise person to this caliber. So the fool is not able to answer because he is far below the average in his mind and intellect. Regular fool I'm talking about. But this person is not able to answer the same questions because he is risen above the mind intellect. That's why I will call these people like fools. Let me read it again. I don't want you to get confused about this because these terms are very strong terms used. Because why he's using this, just so that we have a further clarification. The liberated in life acts like one who does not say why he's acting so. Because he really cannot say why I'm doing it, why God makes me do it. Only my master knows. But he is not thereby a fool. Okay, so less intelligent person cannot say it because he doesn't know. This person also cannot tell you why he's doing it because no personal motive. Even though in the world he is ever happy and blessed, by doing this also, which looks like a foolish endeavor to us intelligent, so-called intelligent people, but he is ever happy. He feels blessed, right? After giving up everything also, says, I'm happy. See the difference? So even though living in this world where we suffer our tensions, our stresses, our conflicts, liberated in person, liberated Jivan Mukta person because he doesn't have any ego, is ever happy and blessed. That is the key difference. A regular fool will be suffering. But this person whom we call a fool, he doesn't have the answer why he's doing it, is happy and blessed. Okay, I hope you got it. It's a pretty deep verse, very clever way of putting the words together in this verse. Okay. नानः विचार सुश्रान्तः धीरः विश्रान्तिम् आगतः न कल्पते न जानाति न शृणोति न पश्यति. Nana vichar sushrantaha, withdrawing from diverse reasonings. Nana vichar. Dhiraha, the wise person. Vishrantim, complete repose. Agataha, attains. Na kalpate, not thinks. Na janati, not knows. Na shrinoti, not hears. Na pashyati, not sees. Again, it reminds us of Bhagavad Gita. The wise person who has withdrawn himself from diverse reasonings, vichars, right? And has attained complete repose. Neither thinks, nor knows, not hears, nor sees. So the divine experience of the infinite self is beyond all reason. Nana vichar. Yes, somebody has a question.
Poonam. Poonam.
Yes, Poonam.
I had it then, but I don't know if I have it now. You said that he is doing in the last verse. You said he is doing everything for to please his Lord. So I was gonna say, does not that also come under a desire? Since he is beyond desire, even doing that act to please Lord, would not that come under the category which is little lower, more
No,
like a desire?
whenever we talk about desire, that means this personal desires. Pleasing the Lord does not come under that. Pleasing the Lord means he's my master. Whatever he wants me to do, whatever he makes me do, I'm fine. Okay. So it's not a personal desire or worldly desire or a selfish desire or even a selfless desire. It's beyond that. Okay. So it's not considered a desire in that sense. Okay. So that has it's a category by itself. Okay. So the wise person who has withdrawn himself from the diverse reasonings which are and has attained complete repose, neither thinks, nor knows, not hears, not sees. So this is like a divine experience. It is not intellectual appreciation. It is truly a spiritual apprehension. And it comes when the meditator has transcended the intellect also. It's like that wise person has reached the blissful state of total repose, like merged with the God. So the ego in him has ended. There cannot be in him either the sense of doership or the enjoyership. He neither thinks, nor knows, nor hears, nor sees. Okay? So this I thinker, I feeler, I knower, all that small I has transcended in this person. So all the functions which are being done with the ego have ended. The enlightened one has attained the peaceful repose of the infinite self. Okay? So let's do one more. Asamadha, avikshepat, na mumukshu, na cha itraha, nishchatehe kalpitam pashyan, Brahm ev aste mahashya asamadha means not practicing meditation. Means not. Avikshepat for having no agitations. Mumukshu is a seeker of liberation. Itraha, the other. Nishchite, knowing for certain. Kalpitam, figment of imagination. Kalpitam, kalpana. Pashyan, seeing. Brahma, the supreme absolute. Ev means as, asate, lives. Mahashya, the wise person. So, since the wise one has no agitations and does not practice meditation, he is not an aspirant for liberation, nor is he in bondage. Having known the universe to be a figment of his imaginations, even though he sees it, he exists as Brahma itself. So the causes for agitations in that person's are the ego. See, normally it's the ego which agitates or egocentric desires. But in this person, the wise person, or this Jivan Mukt person, since the vasanas have ended, his ego has sublimated. He lives in the Brahmic consciousness. In the real sense, this is called Brahmacharya, living in the Brahmic consciousness. Brahm and Brahm everywhere. Since there are no agitations, he is no longer trying to control the mind. So in that sense, it says not practicing meditation because he's already meditating. He's not trying. There's no diligent practice anymore. It's almost like a hungry, if a person is hungry, will need to eat food. The thirsty alone needs to drink water. The agitated mind alone needs to practice the meditation. So he's already there. So the sage who has already reached the goal has awakened to the divine nature. He doesn't need to do any more practice because he's already there. So he's not meditating. He cannot be considered any longer as an aspirant for liberation either because he has already liberated. He's a Jivan Mukta. He cannot be aspirant anymore. So he has awakened from the dream of the subject-object world. Right now, he is perceiving the world because how does he recognize this world? As a magic show. You remember previously what did we read about his understanding of this world? Indrajal, a magic show. He has now become Brahma. He exists as Brahma itself. Nishchite kalpitam pashyan Brahma eva aste mahashya. But if we, as an aspirants, let go of our practice before we have reached there, we will fall flat on our face. Don't just memorize this verse and not the other verses. This is a condition of a person who's a Jivan Mukta. In fact, outside you will still see that person practicing because a person knows that I am a role model for others. Okay? But totally connected all the time. So we'll stop it here and start with 29 next time. So anybody has a question, we can just discuss.
Tripat has a question. Tripat, unmute yourself.
नमस्ते हर्ष जी।
Namaste, Tripat.
हर्ष जी, मेरे को एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है। ये जब हम जीवन मुक्त का पढ़ते हैं तो
Tripat, English, please, in this class.
yeah,
Okay?
sorry. So when we study about ये जीवन मुक्त person who is realized he should be blissful, happy, and in this last sentence he say he almost is like is in Brahma, right? He's
Brahm.
in
He is
Brahm.
a Brahm.
Right, Brahm, the entire consciousness.
Yes.
So what happens what happened then? Why is Buddhism, why does, when Buddha regained his mukti, why does he say shunya, shunya, and then Buddhists don't believe in God? Matlab, when you are in that blissful state and you see wo kehte hain na 1,000 suns, the roshni of 1,000 suns you see when you burst into this self realization, and that feeling is so great. And yet Buddhists are of the Gautam Buddha has said that there is no God, and he says shunya, shunya. He doesn't mention atma at all, or this blissful feeling or anything.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not very much familiar with Buddhism, so I'm not the right person to answer that. But to me, I think Shunya word really means no thought fluctuations. It's like a chattering of the thoughts. Definitely, they got to, when you are one with Brahma, or when you are completely peaceful, there's no agitation. That's what Shunya is. Okay, that doesn't mean that there's no God. Lord Buddha, whatever he said, according to the time, according to the devotees, whatever they needed to hear, that's what he said. Okay.
I have a
time and place changes the vocabulary also. So we really cannot get confused with the words from Buddhism without really knowing completely the Buddhism. So that's why I'm not the right person. I practice.
Right.
I believe in God. I think Buddha believed in God too. I just don't think that he did not. But to me, I think at that time, the rituals and the customs, they became so complicated. So in that sense, he might have said that, hey, don't worry about God right now. Try to reduce your desires. Work on that first.
क्योंकि वो जो हमारे दर्शन है उसमें आस्तिक और नास्तिक हैं, तो बुद्धिज्म और जैनिज्म को नास्तिक बताया ना ये. और I'll read up more on that. That's what I had read. और दूसरा follow up question है, जब हम आत्मा को कहते हैं it's not, it doesn't move, तो फिर हर्ष जी वो क्या होता है कि जब when the person हम कहते हैं कि संसार, you come back and forth in the samsara.
That's a Jivatma we are talking about, because that part of God got enveloped in the subtle and the causal body.
So is there? So when
it's
we
a
say
Jivatma, it's a Jivatma which is transmigrating, which goes from one body to the other body. It's a Jivatma.
So what is the one that is Achal then?
That's the Atma.
So isn't that the Atma, isn't that Achal Atma in oneself?
There is, but it has gotten encased in it.
So then it doesn't stay Achal anymore then when it is transmigrating to another.
Yeah, because because the mind is the one which is taking it to heaven or hell.
Right.
It's almost like, just think about the water. You put the water or you put the air. Suppose air in a balloon. Maybe that's more understandable example. Air in a balloon. Air is everywhere. But then you say that balloon is moving that air in the balloon. But once you poke that balloon, where does that air go?
in the rest of the year.
Rest of the year. So Brahm is everywhere.
Mhm.
Brahm is everywhere. It's achal.
Mhm.
Okay, where will it go? Because it's everywhere. Something which is everywhere, where it can go. So our whole purpose of a human life is to break this balloon of ours. Then we are everywhere.
Makes sense. Hanji, thank you.
So I said
Harsh,
Jivatma is the one which moves, and right now we are identifying ourselves with the Jivatma. When I say that me, yeah, what I have accomplished. So this is like a lower me. That's why when you try to study these in English, like scriptures and the translations of the scriptures in English, they use the word small s, self. That's a Jivatma. When we see the capital S self, that is a Atma, Shuddha Buddha Atma. We are that Shuddha Buddha Atma, but we have forgotten that. And that
So that should,
forgetfulness is the one which transmigrates us from this body to that body and that body. And okay, so the whole purpose is to know we are part of that infinite self. Okay,
Hanji,
so
thanks.
yeah, it's hard to uh, explain all this. It's easier to experience it. Okay, sit down, meditate. You'll experience this who you are. Because this intellect of ours does not let us experience. We want to understand it with buddhi. That's why over here also we studied transcend the mind and the intellect. Then try to see. You will experience it. Anubhav, ultimately it is supposed to be experienced by all of us. Who we are. Okay. I think Poonam has a question. Poonam?
no, I just thought about this shunyata she was asking about. Somewhere I read how it explained that when you peel off all the layers of the onion, when you reach the core of it, that's the shunyata. That's how they explain shunyata. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. And then onion layers really means the
Everything,
layers of
everything.
our self, all those koshas, anmay kosh, pranmay kosh, manomay kosh, vigyanmay kosh, anandmay kosh. What do you see? Something which you really cannot, you cannot talk about it. You can only
And then
experience it.
and many times people do explain that Buddha went all the way, then he said, the minute you utter the words explaining something that cannot be explained, you have already corrupted it. So many people believe he did not read there, he did not use those words because he knew the words would corrupt it. So that's
And,
why he ended at the shunyata part, I guess.
yeah. And then before Buddha also, the yogis here, even Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, he said the same thing. If you a person who talks about it does not know it.
Yeah, yeah.
A person who says I know it does not know it.
Yeah, if you're gonna talk about
Yeah, Upanishad.
Nirankar and then you have to use the words, it
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Because words are a part of the Prakriti. Words are words or the forms, or all of this is part of the Prakriti. Definitely we use the Prakriti to reach there, but we really cannot explain it with the Prakriti. Okay, so we got to understand this. And Upanishads, they talk and talk. And there's a beautiful Upanishad which I'm going to do in a retreat in November. No, in December. And that talks about all this too. Okay, so we have decided to do retreats every other month, Saturday mornings for 3 hours. So if anyone is interested, just keep that Saturday morning free. Okay, our
When
first
is
retreat is
when is the first one?
first one is October
17th.
17th. 17th.
17th.
Yeah.
That would be
First one is
this.
October 17th, is a yogic perspective on death. And it will, all the retreats will start at 10:30 in the morning and until 1:30. So 3 hours with a little break. No rajma chawal, that you'll have to make it by
And I
yourself.
think, Hershey, that all retreats have to be signed up on the website.
Yes, yes. I would like you to, yeah, sign up on the, yeah, Jyoti is going to post about these retreats. So, okay. So, but 3 hour every time we have a retreat, okay? So, anybody else, any question? No? So, if there's no more question, comment, I would request Kamla to sing a bhajan today.
Okay. हाँ जी.
Okay, Kamla, thank you.
हाँ जी. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. हे दुख भंजन तुम्हें प्रणाम. हे दुख भंजन तुम्हें प्रणाम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. भ्रात भ्रात को हे परमेश्वर इसने तुम्हें सिखलाते. नर नारी के प्रेम की ज्योति जग में तुम्ही जलाते. हो नैया के खेवनहारी. हो नैया के खेवनहारी. जपू में तुमरो नाम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. तुम्ही दया के सागर प्रभु जी. तुम्ही पालनहारे. चैन तुम्ही से पाए वे कल मनवा सांझ सकारे. जो भी तुमरी आस लगाए. जो भी तुमरी आस लगाए बने उसी के काम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. हे दुख भंजन तुम्हें प्रणाम. हे दुख भंजन तुम्हें प्रणाम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम. थैंक यू जी.
Thank you very much, Kamla. Thank you. Okay, Jyoti, you can